What's up, everyone? It's almost 7 in the morning. I'm going to get my bike, ride with some guys I met on the internet there on a Facebook page called Pittsburgh Dual Sporters. I think it's just us or me and two other guys, so should be a good time. So, like I said, I met these two gents on the internet. It's our first ride together. They're both on KTM dirt bikes. I'm on a big KLR650. This was our first stop. It was like a MX track at a farmer's field. That's Adam there on the big tank KTM. That's a 450. And the dude that's in front of me here, it's like an all black KTM. That's James. So after that stop, we made our way to this little strip cut here. Awesome little place, a lot of little hills. It was soaking wet. It was like the first day we could ride this year, unless you winter ride. And since it was all thawed out, it was super wet. James is a little hesitant to go downhill on his bike. The KTM he has only has an 18-inch front wheel, and so he can't get a good knobby. And I have the stock tire still on my KLR. I mean, I'm over 5,000 miles, almost 6, and I'm on the stock front tire. But I went right down over it. So Adam and James were super cool. Neither of them are like speed racers when it comes to ride. Adam used to race, and James was primarily a street rider until the past year or so he got into dual sporting. That's James there climbing that hill. And that's Adam. Like I said, Adam there's on a 450. I don't know those KTM model numbers. And that KTM there is a 620. So after I climbed the hill once and watched these guys ride around, I decided to give it a go myself. My back tire it's brand new. It's a Shinko 244. It might have, maybe 500 miles on it. So it's still like new.
Which one you going up? What's that? You climbing one of these?
There goes James. With the way I'm geared right now, that's all first gear stuff. Second wasn't quite enough, a little too fast. I'd like to gear down, but then again, it's good on the highway, and I commute with my bike too, so Someone had a fire up top of there. I ran through their garbage, I think.
I like it here. I think I just ran through that big pile of glass. Hey!
Our next stop was this gas line that didn't go anywhere, but it looked fun to ride around on. I tried to let him know it didn't go anywhere, that's why I shouted for him at first here, but I thought, what the heck, I'll go up it. Now, I thought this trail, or this gas line, didn't go anywhere, but they found a side trail off of it that cut into some fields. And this was my first and only fall of the day. So slick, the front end just washed out. That's actually my first crash ever on that bike. Well, sorta. I fell over before, but that was like a slide out fall. It's really fun riding with people. You get to push yourself more than I ever would just riding my KLR around by myself.
Was your front tire like worthless in this stuff? Dude, I fell. The first time I dropped it.
So like I said, it's the spring thaw, so everything looks dry and it's just a greasy mess. There goes James down again, and to keep myself from going down, I just had to crash down through these thorn bushes, jagger bushes, briars, whatever you want to call them, and I had to come back up through them.
Dry, and right underneath it's like an inch of mud.
So we decided to ride on this power line for a little bit, which if you watch my other videos is a big debate. Oh, they're not open. Oh, they're open. But whatever. Once again, it comes to riding with other people. You do things you wouldn't do by yourself. I didn't care. I was like, fine, we're riding power lines. There's 3 of us. But it didn't really go anywhere either. As you see in so many videos, it's the beauty of a dual sport. Hop on the road, go to the next spot. This is in an industrial park, well behind the industrial park. The guys I went riding with, they find a lot of their trails by just searching satellite maps of the area and seeing trail systems on it. And finding out how to get there and who owns it and whatever. I was just joking with James here, but I yelled at him to turn his turn signal off. He had it on for about the past, 20 minutes. I was really surprised at how well my KLR kept up with the dirt bikes, the 2 KTMs and this stuff. Stock front tires still, with over 5,000 miles. It was worthless, but I managed to woods ride this bike pretty well. That's the only thing that let me down, I think, was the front tire. Oh, and definitely the foot pegs. I have to get foot pegs. Still have the stock rubber ones. Once they got muddy, I wore regular like MX boots. Slip right off the pegs. Now, of course, this is all chopped up and edited. We ended up riding all day. From the time I left my house in Johnstown till the time I got back, I put on 231 miles for the day. But so we were actually in this industrial park for a good half hour or more, riding around on the trails. Here was a trail I wasn't too fond of. It looked like it was another farmer's field it just cut into. And as you'll see here in a second, James had a little trouble in this puddle.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on this trail.
So Adam and I found a way around it, around that part of the trail anyway. Ended up being this really cool little, some rocks piled together on this little uphill and then a steep hill climb. Which everyone knows doesn't look as steep on a GoPro as it does in real life. KLR surprised me there making it up that. But as you'll see right here, I'm actually in first gear and the clutch isn't pulled in. I'm actually just stuck with no forward motion with the greasy mud here.
Whew. That's hard on this heavy ass bike. Yeah.
We decided just to ride around at this point and take any dirt roads we saw. This was one of them. Ended up being a great stretch of dirt road. It was maybe only 5-10 miles. It wasn't very long, but it was fun to get off the paved road for a while. I would say it was 10 miles. And again, James and I are at the disadvantage of we can't really run a aggressive front tire. We have to run like a round. Well, I don't have to, but I was on a stock tire and he was on an 18-inch front wheel, which every time we hit this mud, you know, we would crank on this road and we'd hit the mud and our front wheels would just start walking. We'd have to slow down considerably. Really glad I got to ride with these two guys and hope to get to ride with them again. And other guys from Pittsburgh Dual Sport. I'll put a link in the description. We wound around on backcountry roads until we had an idea where we wanted to head next. led us into the town of Greensburg, Pennsylvania, which we're coming into. We're sort of there now, but there, that's Greensburg there. And we were going to make our way down to the Loyalhanna Dam. I think that's how you say it. I've heard people say Loyalhanna, but it's Loyalhanna Dam. And that was basically our final stop of the day. You'll see it here in a minute. On the way down there, it was a gravel-filled road. Not gravel, but we use gravel here for anti-skid in the winter, so it lays on the road for a couple months after winter. And here's the dam. After here, we basically just went to get fuel together in Saltsburg, Pennsylvania, and then we went our separate ways. I went back to Johnstown to drop off my bike. James had to go back out towards Somerset, and Adam went back to, Pittsburgh. That's the overflow or the tailwaters of the dam. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like it. More dual sport rides to come. Do some stuff on my KX and stuff too, so.
Back out 9.